Hello. Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for this much anticipated CEP session hosted by the Pimprinchar chapter of Institute of Cost Accountants of India on a topic that cites the intersection of strategy, psychology, and business foresight. So, our today's topic is decoding brand value, measuring intangibles in an unpredictable world. Today, there are basically two special occasions are there. One is today is the International Yoga Day, and second is today is the longest day of the year. So we can see still there is a sunset is not there. So if I talk about the International Yoga Day, yoga teaches us to connect the visible with the invisible. It means with the help of yoga, we are trying to connect with our inner selves. This session will teach us how the value of unseen drivers in the business or of the business success, the intangibles that don't appear on the financial statements but have the immense strategic impact. The theme for the today is decoding brand value, measuring intangibles in an unpredictable world. It could not be more relevant in today's economic climate. As professional in a finance and cost management, we have a traditionally focus on a tangible metrics, but the reality of the modern business is changing rapidly. We can see businesses are today's product life cycle of the businesses or maturity curve of the businesses are very short, that is of almost only 2 to 3 years because of the rapidly growing internet era. So in this era where the trust is the currency, perception is the power, and logos are just the tip of the iceberg, brand value has evolved into something far more nuanced and critical. Today, we will dive deep into what really fuels business identity beyond products, beyond profits, into reputation, emotion, and the connection, and the often overlook that intangibles that truly shape the long-term growth of the enterprise. Because in an increasingly volatile world, it is an intangible trust, reputation, and loyalty, identity that often hold the key to the sustainable growth. Yet these are the very few elements that don't show up clearly on the balance sheet. As the businesses compete not just on the products but on perception, understanding, valuing, and the managing brand equity becomes a strategic imperative. This session will aim to bridge that gap. It is designed to equip us with the tools and insight to interpret and qualify and quantify intangible assets so we can advise, audit, and act with the greater foresight. Today, we are honored to have with us a CMA Ashish Deshmukh, a seasoned practitioner and an insightful speaker, who will take us through this dynamic journey. With his wealth of experience, he will help us to understand how businesses can quantify these abstract assets, navigate uncertainty, and the translate perception into the performance. So, with this, I will request our past chairman, our current chairman, CMA Ajit Shinde, to felicitate our today's speaker, CMA Ashish Deshmukh. Now I will request CMA Padmaja Bujruk Madam to give the sapling to Ashish Deshmukh sir. Now, today we had an International Yoga Day celebration at chapter. So I will request our most senior member, Ladda sir, to felicitate our past chairman, CMA Dhananjay Kumar Vatsan sir. Now I will request our secretary CMA Rupali Kothawale to give this token of appreciation as a sapling to CMA Dhananjay Kumar Vatsan sir. So to all the professional and participants present here today, your commitment to continuous learning is what drives your profession forward. May today's session spark new perspectives and equip us with the tools to value the invisible and turn into the invaluable. Now let us learn today, reflect and emerge better prepared to decode the value that lies beyond the numbers. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. Now let's begin this exciting conversation with open minds and the curious questions. So I'll request CMA Ashish Deshmukh sir to have to be on the stage, and we can start with our today's topic.
Recording चालू झाला का? Okay, ठीक है. So this is the first time I am presenting in front of camera. Okay, so please excuse me if anything wrong happened. Okay, and I think my voice is clear. Okay, because a lot of resonance is there. Okay. Actually, I learned this in physics when I was in 8th standard, reverberation of sound. Okay, so that exactly is happening now. Okay, so this is the practical of that reverberation of sound here, but it is mandatory because recording goes good with this. Okay, otherwise I would have removed this. So today's topic is brand valuation. Okay, so I welcome to this session of brand valuation. Okay, myself CMA Ashish Deshmukh, as you know very well, and for some new members, I am practicing cost accountant plus chartered engineer, independent director, as well as IBBR registered valuer for plant and machinery. Okay. I'm going to share this presentation, so my WhatsApp number is also there, mail ID is also there. Be in touch. So my brand is also visible over there. Okay, so ADA, Ashish Deshmukh and Associates. So now this is let us make more and more interactive. So first of all, let us see what is a brand. Okay. And why a brand is required for every CMA. Every CMA, he should develop his brand. So why it is? Okay. So from that picture, hey, where is that picture? Oh, thank you. So that picture is given over here. Okay, can you recognize this brand? Anyone? Starbucks. Okay. It's okay, no? Sound is okay. So Starbucks. Okay. So from that picture itself, you can recognize it. Okay. So brand, it is a name or design or symbol or any other feature that distinguishes one seller's goods or service from those of other sellers. Okay. So brands are used in business. Okay. Why it is required? So you will say it is required for marketing, basically. Okay. So you must be of opinion that CMA, he should not have his brand. Okay. Do we have our brand? Yes. We have our logo. Yes, है ना, CMA logo. Okay. So you make it displayed. Okay. Means I drive vehicle. Okay. My two-wheeler. Okay. So on that it is displayed over there as a CMA. You must be having car. Okay, so you have displayed it on your car also. So that is our identity. Okay, and we are doing a branding of that. Okay, because that is creating awareness among other people. That's this is CMA. Is different from CA. Okay, so some idea comes to their mind from that picture, that logo. Okay, so brands are used in business, marketing, and advertising for recognition. Okay, that logo, CMA logo, that is giving us a recognition. Is it okay? Okay. And importantly, to create and store value as a brand equity for the objects identified to the benefit of the brand's customers. Okay, we have a lot of clients as our customers. Okay, they also recognize us as a CMA nowadays. Okay, पहले पूछते थे कि what is the difference between CA and CMA. Okay, but now slowly our brand is developing, so they have a fair idea about a CMA. Okay, because of that logo, and something comes to their mind from that logo or picture. Okay, so brand names are sometimes distinguished from generic or store brands. Okay, so now our logo, that CMA logo, okay, that distinguished logo apart from CMA, CA logo, so that is creating somewhat brand equity. So you must be having fair idea about a brand equity. So what is brand equity? So brand equity is the intangible value. Okay, so brand equity is the intangible value a brand holds in the mind of consumers. So it represents how well a brand is recognized, perceived, and trusted in the market. A strong brand equity equates to higher customers' loyalty and increase the market share. Okay, so do you know Marico Industries? I joined Marico Industries after engineering. Okay, so I got selected through campus. And when I went to my native place, I told them, I told my friends, I told my relatives that I am selected in Marico Industries. Okay, so that time they asked me, Marico Industries means that biscuit? Okay, so there is a biscuit named as a Monaco. Okay, so they could not distinguish it from Monaco biscuit because that brand that is in their mind. Okay, Monaco नाम सुना है ना आपने? Okay, so they asked me, तुम बिस्किट के फैक्ट्री में है क्या? Then I started explaining them कि Marico Industries brand name is Parachute. Now you know this brand? पता है क्या है? What is Parachute? Parachute coconut oil. Okay, hair oil. Okay, though they have a license of edible oil, they distinguished it as a hair oil. Okay, and that is the that Parachute, it is the brand leader
in that whole segment. If you will take a hair oil segment, Parachute is on number 1. Okay, so Parachute, if you will take a market capitalizations, okay, so Parachute is having 75% share. Now it is gradually it increased. When I joined that time, it was having 75% market share. Okay, and other players in that segment, hair oil segment, they were Nihar, then Shalimar. Okay, have you heard this name? No. Because that brand developed gradually. Okay, so now it is having 96% market share. Okay, so we used to do lot of research, okay, in labs, okay, on other brands. So do you know that one brand was there that is called Shalimar? हे जाते रे, इकडे हे करावं लागतं. हां, नाही sorry. Anyway, nobody is means so Shalimar brand that was having just 4% market share, but purity wise, quality wise, it was on top. Okay, we used to do a lot of research and we used to match our brand Parachute to that. Okay, but still gradually wiped out and Shalimar is no more. Okay, so even we say CMA says that quality of service. So whether it will last from this story, what is the takeaway? What is the takeaway? Only quality will last. Shalimar had a prime quality. Aroma wise also means if used to smell Shalimar, no, best aroma. Okay, so do only quality last? Quality of service? No. So marketing efforts, somehow every CMA he has to gradually develop marketing and develop his own brand. Okay, and then of course quality of service should be there. Okay, then only repetitive clients will come. Okay, reputation will be there. Okay, but to acquire major chunk of business, you should do the branding. You should the branding of your services. हा ते करावं लागेल ना, नाहीतर रेकॉर्डिंग मध्ये प्रॉब्लेम होईल. करेक्ट. चालू आहे रेकॉर्डिंग. ठीक आहे, नॉट टू वरी. Okay, so brand equity. Okay, so you should study the brand equity also. It is an intangible value. Okay, if you will take a Google definition of brand equity, you will find a value premium that a company generates from a product with a recognizable name when compared to a generic equivalent. Okay, so ये जो story बोला ना मैंने, Shalimar, Nihar was HLL that time. Hindustan Lever, we used to call Hindustan Lever, now it is Unilever. So that product. Okay, so Marico was fighting with HLL. Okay, and still they were giving a tough fight to HLL. Okay, now what is a brand identity? So if you will take a Google definition, brand identity means the visible elements of a brand such as color, design and logo. So I showed you that picture of Starbucks and you identified it. It is a Starbucks. Okay, it is coming over there. Okay, so that is called a brand identity. Our logo, that is CMA logo. So from that that brand identity comes कि CMA कुछ cost management and accountant है. Okay, so brand identity, it refers to the visual and symbolic elements that represents a brand. Okay, so these elements include a brand's name, logo, color scheme. This color scheme is also important. Then typography and design elements. So these elements work together to create a recognizable image for the brand, which consumers can identify and connect with. So why this color is important? If you have seen the CA logo, so that color of right tick, so that is in green. What it symbolizes, what it depicts, what it represents. क्या है वो ग्रीन कलर क्यों दिया होगा उन्होंने? Any guess? And why our color is blue? So you should think of that. You should think of that whenever you see that logo. So you should study that logo. Why this logo has come? Okay, so auditor, he uses that green pen while doing the audit. He uses that green pen. He marks it with green pen. Okay, so they shows their strength of financial audit. Who? CAs. Okay, and that's why they had given that tick, right tick, as in green color. Okay, so now I will come to the next topic, that is called a brand positioning. Okay, so brand positioning, it is the process of defining an organization's position in the market relative to its competitor. Because in a market, no business goes without competitor. Okay, so there will be a lot of competitors. Okay, and they provide you a competitive edge in every business. Even in case of our practice, CMA practice, if you are in practice, so you have to face a competition from other cost accountants. Okay, so you have to position your services. Okay, so let's take an example of brand positioning. So you have to first of all identify competitors in the market. Okay, how you will position your brand? So identify competitors in the market, then find out where they are positioned. Okay, then decide on providers positioning relative to the rivals. Okay, look at the market gaps, find out what are market gaps over there, then develop a USP. USP means what? Anyone? USP? USP of the product. That is very important in case of a brand. Okay, because all your efforts, marketing efforts, okay, thrust of advertising, so that oriented to that USP, unique selling product. Okay, so unique selling position, so that is called a USP. So every business, means our business also, that should have a USP, proper USP. Okay, so let's take again example of Marico Industries and their brand, that is a parachute. Okay, so in every if you will see the advertising of parachute, so they provide a thrust on their USP, and that USP is purity. Okay, तो उनका कोई भी एडवर्टाइजिंग उठा लो आप और देखो, उसमें एक ही रहेगा, शुद्धता है क्या भला देखा तुम्हें तो पता चला होगा. एवरीवेयर शुद्धता वर्ड, शुद्धता इज कॉल्ड प्यूरिटी. ओके, if they do any innovations, now I will talk about other competitors. Okay, those competitors, they will have USP, other USPs. Okay, but you have to provide a thrust on your USP. Okay, अभी आपको भी, now you are doing a practice. So whenever you approach your clients, okay, so tell him your USP. What type of, whether you are positioning in your business in GST, in cost audit, in internal audit, So you should have your own USP, unique selling positioning. Okay. So when I was working in Marico Industries, so that time अभी क्या होता है कि this models, okay, so you make an advertisement and then you pay that model, okay, straight away. Means you do the agreement for that modeling, okay. But that time that जमाना थोड़ा अलग था उस टाइम. तो दे यूज टू डू मॉडल के साथ जो एग्रीमेंट होते थे वो पूरा साल का होता था. सो वेन एवर वी यूज टू गो देयर, दैट टाइम ये NEFT, RTGS ये कुछ भी नहीं था. सो वेन एवर आई यूज टू गो टू पिक अप माई चेक एट रंगशारदा बैंड्रा, ओके, क्योंकि तभी सैलरी जो होती थी वो बैंक में डिपॉजिट नहीं होती थी, हमको चेक मिलता था और चेक जाके डिपॉजिट करो और फिर 3 दिन के बाद वो सैलरी क्रेडिट होती थी. वो ज़माना था वो. ओके, सो दैट टाइम वेन एवर आई यूज टू गो ओवर देयर, तो एक बड़ी सुंदर लड़की उधर आके वो चेक लेके जाती थी. हम सोचते थे यार हम हर फैक्ट्री में घूमे हैं मैरिको के, लेकिन ये लड़की को कहीं देखा नहीं अपन, ये कौन है. Okay, so then that movie had come and then we found her as a Sonali Bendre. So she used to come there और वो जो ब्रांड के एडवर्टाइजमेंट वगैरह रहते थे तभी उसको बुलाया जाता था और वो काम करती थी उधर. ओके, सो एंड एड वेयर अगेन फोकस्ड ऑन दैट प्यूरिटी ओनली. ओके, शुद्धता है क्या भला. ओके, सो निहार का ऐसा नहीं था, तो दे यूज टू पोजिशन ऑन इनोवेशंस. ओके, तो इनोवेशंस कैसे, तो नॉर्थ में क्या होता है जब भी ठंडी आती, ठंड बढ़ती है तो तभी ये सब फ्रीज हो जाता है. जो हेयर ऑयल है, ओके, कोकोनट हेयर ऑयल वैक्स बन जाता है उसका, तो उसको निकालने के लिए उन्होंने वो एक ढक्कन बनाया था और फिर वो फ्लैप वाला ढक्कन. ओके, एंड देन दे यूज टू पोजिशन इट. ओके, दे यूज टू डू पोजिशनिंग ऑन इनोवेशंस कि आपको कितनी सुविधा है ये तेल निकालने के लिए. ओके, सो दैट वे दैट्स व्हाई आई डिस्कस दिस पोजिशनिंग. ओके, एंड दैट इज अ वेरी रिलेवेंट इन आवर डे टू डे वर्किंग ऑल्सो, ब्रांड पोजिशनिंग. ओके, and then comes the brand marketing. So I explained you 3-4 terms like brand, then brand equity, then brand positioning, and this is the fourth term, that is the brand marketing. So first of all you have to find out the USP. Okay, हमारे अदर भी प्रोडक्ट थे जब हम मैरिको में काम करते थे. So one product you know very well, that is the Saffola. Have you heard this name, Saffola? Okay, and what is the USP for this? नहीं पता USP? Very good, zero cholesterol. Okay, and every, because cholesterol, okay, cholesterol is harmful for what? Heart, your heart. So every Saffola advertisement you pick up and see that advertisement. So तुमको ऐसा देखने को मिलेगा कि the owner means of family. Okay, so that main earner of that family, if he gets a heart attack, okay, so entire family will collapse. Okay, so that was the positioning of Saffola. Okay, वो एड में दिखाया जाता था कि जो मैन विथ 30-40 एज, ओके, उसकी लड़की, छोटी सी बच्ची, उसकी वाइफ, एंड ही इज गेटिंग हार्ट अटैक, एंड व्हाट सो that hammers the mind of housewives. They will think कि कुछ भी हो जाए लेकिन ये बंदे को अपने को सफोला ही खिलाना है. Why? Because he will not get cholesterol और heart attack नहीं आने वाला. Okay, so that is called a positioning. That is the positioning. So find out the gaps in the market and then you have to position your brand over there. Okay. Then comes the brand marketing. So once you frame out USP, then you can do the marketing of that brand very well. अभी हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गया CMM में, we have not done any positioning itself. Okay, अभी we are fighting कि DTC आ रहा है तो हम उसको उसमें घुसते हैं, we will become an accountant, then we will get a financial audit. Okay, why you are doing? Because you don't have positioning. पता ही नहीं क्या करना है आपको. Okay, so they should think in that direction ki where I am going to position, and then do the brand marketing, and then you will get a huge business over there. Okay, so for brand marketing, what is required? So these 6 things are there. First of all, brand research. Okay, then you do the brand building. Okay, then you have to do the campaigns creation and executions, then public relation management. Okay, marketing mix selection, and then sponsorship and event marketing. So with all this, you can do the brand marketing. Okay, so what is brand marketing? So brand marketing is the approach used by companies to promote and establish a brand in a market by creating a unique identity. Again, USP, unique identity, values and perceptions that differentiate it from competitors. Okay, so brand marketing, it aims to connect emotionally with consumers, build loyalty, and ultimately drive sales and market share through activities like advertising, public relations and content marketing. Okay, so this is called a brand marketing. Okay, so this topic, why it is relevant to cost accountant? Let me tell you. Because cost accountant, he focuses all his efforts, okay, on one financial statement. What is that? कौन सा फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट है जिस पे हम हमारा पूरा फोकस रखते हैं? P&L, only P&L. Okay, but if he will shift his focus to that another statement, which one? Balance sheet. Okay, तो एक अलग डायमेंशंस मिलने वाला है कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट को. ओके, इफ ही विल स्टार्ट डूइंग वैल्यूएशन ऑफ ब्रांड्स, ओके, सो सबसे बड़ा फायदा किसको होने वाला है? कैन यू इमेजिन? सबसे बड़ा फायदा किसको होने वाला है? कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट होने वाला है? नहीं, किसको होने वाला है? कंपनीज. बट लेकिन मैंने आज तक ऐसा कोई कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट नहीं देखा कि जो जाके बात कर रहा है क्लाइंट से कि योर ब्रांड वैल्यूएशन इज दिस मच एंड यू कैन टेक योर ब्रांड वैल्यूएशन फ्रॉम दिस x to 10x by doing these efforts. This is your USP. No, they are not doing. Because हमने जैसा घोड़े को लगा देते ना ऐसा कि so he can run in straight way. Okay, वैसा हमारा हो गया है. Okay, so that's why this topic is selected, just to tell you कि क्या क्या कर सकते हैं हम लोग. Okay, so this is called a brand marketing. Now in our case, this is all personal branding. हम जो बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, that is all personal branding. Okay, personal branding examples are there. Can you identify these personalities? कौन है ये पहला कौन है? Sachin Tendulkar, then Ratan Tata, then this guy, you know him very well now. Yes, Trump. Okay, वो लास्ट में कौन है? नहीं पहचान रहे उसको? नो, नॉट शिव खेरा. नहीं, कमाल है यार. ही इज पॉपुलर जस्ट लाइक ट्रम्प. Elon Musk, very good. Okay, अभी fight is going on between Elon Musk and Trump. You know that very well. And this guy नीचे में, उसको भी नहीं पहचान रहे? सत्या नाडेला. Very good. Okay, so that picture, that photographs itself, okay, that is their logo, that is the brand. Why? Because that is the example of personal branding. Okay, अगर मैं मेरा फोटो लगाता हूँ, nobody will identify me. You know me very well. Okay, तुम लोगों ने मेरे को 5-6 साल से देखा है, that's why you can identify. अरे आशीष सर जैसा दिख रहा है. Okay. लेकिन अगर मैं फोटो कहीं भेजूँ इधर पुणे में वगैरह, nobody will identify me. Okay, because personal branding मेरा 0 है.
पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग जीरो है मेरा. ओके, बट बीइंग proprietor of our firm, you should do the personal branding also. Okay, so another thing where you can do the personal branding, that is your logo. That is your logo. So on every invoice, on every certificate, okay, your logo should appear. Your logo should appear. Okay, and then your clients will start identifying you, because your certificate that not only remains with that client, it goes to bank. Okay, it goes to government authorities. Okay, so everywhere that your logo should come. Okay, so personal branding, it is the act of promoting yourself as a brand by crafting a distinct identity, reputations and online presence to showcase your skills, expertise and personality. हम लोग अभी स्टेटस लगाते हैं, सर नहीं लगाते, हमारे सर अभी तक नहीं लगाते. ही इज नॉट ऑन फेसबुक ऑल्सो. ओके, वात्सायन सर, लेकिन मैं लगाता हूँ. सो आई टेक अ केयर ऑन एवरी स्टेटस माई लोगो विल अपीयर समहाउ. ओके, वीडियो है तो उसमें भी लोगो आ जाएगा. ऐसा मैं ट्राई करते रहता हूँ जनरली. ओके, इफ इट इज रिलेटेड टू कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट. ओके, सो दैट एफर्ट शुड be taken by you also. Why? For branding, for a branding. Okay, so this type of branding is normally used by professionals. This type of branding is normally used by professional influencers and entrepreneurs to enhance their career, attract opportunities and build a strong online presence. Okay, and this is the last topic under this. Means I am explaining brand to you first. Okay, and then I am going to explain you brand valuation कैसा किया जाएगा. So first of all I explain you brand, what is brand, then brand equity, then brand positioning. Okay, then brand marketing. Okay, then what is personal brand, and now I will explain you corporate branding. So corporate branding, it is a process of establishing and managing a corporation or organization's identity. It involves crafting the company's mission, values and culture which align with its public image. Corporate branding aims to create a consistent and positive company perceptions among its stakeholders, including customers, employees, investors and the public. Okay, so if I show you two brands, okay, Tata and Reliance. If I show you Tata brand, what will come to your mind? Trust. Very good, trust. कहीं पे लिखा है क्या उसमें कि दिस सिंबल symbolizes trust? Anywhere it is mentioned over there? How it developed then? Trust कैसे आ गया उसमें? क्यों आया? Anyone? जैसे सर worked with Bajaj. Okay, if Bajaj symbols comes, okay, so what will come to our mind? हमारा बजाज. क्यों आता है ऐसा माइंड में? कैसे हुआ ये सब? ब्रांडिंग, ब्रांड मार्केटिंग, ब्रांड इक्विटी, ब्रांड पोजिशनिंग. हमारा बजाज, दिस इज कॉल्ड पोजिशनिंग. ओके, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड कॉर्पोरेट ब्रांडिंग. सो जो वैल्यूज है ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, सो दैट value should percolate in the brand, that logo, and it appears in front of people. Okay, who is clients, who are the end users of products, okay, who are end users of services. So just by seeing that, that value should come into his mind. Okay. So corporate branding, it is the process of establishing and managing a corporation or organization identities and all that identity like mission, values, culture, which aligns with its public image that should percolate in that brand. So corporate branding, it aims to create a consistent and positive company perceptions among its stakeholders, including customers, employees, investors, and public. Okay, so this is called a corporate branding. How it comes? So that comes through a advertising first. Okay, so advertising, that is a link between the end users and that company, corporate. Okay, so that is the only interface available, advertising. Okay, but that advertising, what it should give? So उसमें सब कुछ आएगा. क्या आएगा? So missions, values, cultures, quality of products, quality of services, credibility, all should come in that advertising. Okay, and through brochures, through community, it should get reflected everywhere. It should get reflected everywhere. So that is called a corporate branding. Okay, and last topic is the brand recognition under this. Okay, and then I will go into a valuation topic. So यहाँ पे सारे brand दिखाए हैं मैंने. So that is just the logo or picture appears over there, and you can identify many brands out of that. Okay, जैसे YouTube का है, okay, Sainsbury का है, Colgate का है, okay, BBC का है, Visa, okay, these are all popular brands which we use in our day-to-day life. Okay, so the term brand recognition, it refers to the ability of consumers to identify a specific brand by its attributes over another one. So brand recognition, it is a concept used in advertising and marketing. It is considered successful when people are able to recognize a brand through visual or auditory cues such as logos, slogans, packaging, colors, or jingles, rather than being explicitly exposed to a company's name. Okay, jingles plays a very important role. Jingles plays very important roles. Okay, जैसा म्यूचुअल फंड, ओके, ऐसा बोला तो आप क्या बोलते हैं? सही है. ओके, ये म्यूचुअल फंड सही है, ये आपके माइंड में क्यों आता है ऐसा? सही है, सही है, म्यूचुअल फंड सही है, क्यों आया ऐसा माइंड में? एडवर्टाइजमेंट, वेरी गुड, एडवर्टाइजमेंट. ओके, what it means? सही है means what? This is a jingle, huh? Mutual fund सही है. What it means? Huh? Right decision. Yes, it is a right decision. Why it is right decision? Because it is giving, जो भी हमारे इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोडक्ट है उसमें सबसे ज्यादा आपको रिटर्न्स जो दे रहा है, that is the mutual fund. Okay, so mutual fund is in India since last 65 years. Okay, लेकिन आज बताने का क्यों जरूरत है? Because they proved it कि आज कौन से भी इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोडक्ट उठा लो, सबसे ज्यादा रिटर्न्स कौन दे रहा है? म्यूचुअल फंड. Okay, so that is called a positioning, and that positioning again they are bombarding through their advertisement. Okay, कल मैं राशन लाने डीमार्ट में गया था. ओके, मॉर्निंग वी वेंट ओवर देयर. तो मेरे साथ एक फैमिली आई, उनका बच्चा है ना, जाके उधर अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट स्टोर है, तो वहाँ पे उन्होंने ये सब रखे रहे थे प्रोडक्ट. उधर वो मैगी के उधर अटक गया वो बच्चा. ओके, तो वो समझाने लगे उसको कि उसके जो पेरेंट्स है ना कि ये मैदे का है, ये ऐसा है वैसा है. ओके, लेकिन वो बच्चा अड़ा रहा उधर. उसने उनके पूरा यानी मम्मी डैडी को वो लेने को ही लगाया उसने. ओके, अभी ये कौन किया है ये? ओके, ड्राइविंग फोर्स क्या है? वो बच्चे के माइंड में कैसे आया कि ये लेना ही है मेरे को? कैसे आया बच्चे के माइंड में? करेक्ट. सो ये एडवर्टाइजमेंट में आपको पोजीशनिंग करना है कि आपके टारगेट कंज्यूमर्स कौन है. ओके, मैगी को अगर आप टारगेट करते हो कि हाउस वाइफ और जो हस्बैंड है, ओके, वेदर ही इज गोइंग टू बाय दिस? नो। इसलिए आप मैगी का कोई भी एडवर्टाइजमेंट उठा के देखो, उसमें बताया जाएगा जिंगल में, बच्चों को जब भूख सताए बच्चे खाते मैगी। तो नाउ दिस किड हिज फीलिंग, अरे यार मेरे को भूख लगे तो मैं वो इमीडिएट 2 मिनट्स में बना के खा सकता हूँ, या मेरी माँ मेरे को 2 मिनट में बना के दे सकती है। ओके, तो पोजिशनिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ओके, एंड जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट येलो कलर, उसने पहचान लिया यार, उधर जाके रुक गया वो, उसको पता है ये मैगी है, उसको तो बेचारे को पढ़ना भी नहीं आता होगा। ओके, जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट कलर, दैट पैकिंग, he identified that brand कि ये मेरा ब्रांड है मैगी। ओके, सो नाउ आई मूव टू टेक्निकल पार्ट। ओके, तो सबसे पहले भी थोड़ा चाय पी लेता हूँ, एंड we'll have just 2 minutes break, और फिर I'll go to the brand valuation thing. Okay, so when to recognize brand value in the books? Okay, so para 21 to 23 of Ind AS. What is Ind AS? Very good, Indian Accounting Standard 38. Okay, so this is related to intangible assets. So Ind AS 38, intangible asset, it says that, so para 21, an intangible asset shall be recognized if and only if, number 1, it is probable that the expected future economic benefits that are attributable to the assets will flow to the entity. Okay, and B, the cost of asset can be measured reliably. Okay, that itself is mentioned in this accounting standards 38. Okay, you have to do the brand valuation. Okay, what are the reliable methods that I am going to tell you? Okay, then para 22, an entity shall assess the probability of expected future economic benefits using reasonable and supportable assumptions that represents management's best estimate of the set of economic conditions that will exist over the useful life of the asset. Here our asset is brand. Okay, so useful life means जब तक वो brand है जिंदा, so you have to do the brand valuation. An entity uses judgment to assess the degree of certainty attached to the flow of the future economic benefits that are attributable to the use of the asset on the basis of the future evidence available at the time of initial recognitions, giving greater weight to external evidence. Okay, so here method is also given कि कैसा करने का है इसको. Okay, entity uses a judgment to assess the degree of certainty attached to the flow of future economic benefits that are attributable to the use of the asset on the basis of evidence available. Evidence are important over here at the time of initial recognition, giving greater weight to the external evidence. External evidence हम नहीं मांग रहे, internal evidence की बात कर रहे. Okay, now what are the reasons or need for brand valuation? So a study of Interbrand in association with JP Morgan. You know JP Morgan? Have you heard this name? JP Morgan consultancy है बड़ा. Okay, they concluded that on an average brands account for more than 1/3 of shareholders value. Okay, if shareholders value is 1 CR, so what is the brand value then? Anyone? If shareholders value is 1 CR, बहुत छोटा बात कर रहा हूं मैं. Okay, जो कि हमारे MSME है अगर, okay, छोटे MSME. Okay, तो shareholders value है 1 CR, 33 lakh will be the brand value. Okay, 35 lakh will be the brand value. Okay, so thus brands are one of the most important strategic assets of an organization and may require valuation under following circumstances. First one is the financial reporting, PPA, purchase price allocation. Okay, and nowadays you know that lot of mergers and acquisitions happen. Okay, IT companies, startups. Okay, and that time you have to do valuations of brand. Okay, तो जिसने खरीदा है, he wants acquired company's brand value because he has to allocate whatever purchase price का जो हमने ये किया है, he has to allocate that in a strategic assets, and one of the major strategic asset is the brand. Okay, so there it is required, brand valuation is required. Then M&A decisions, I gave you example, mergers and acquisition, licensing, tax planning, dispute resolutions. Okay, then liquidations, litigations, raising funds. Okay, raising funds, it also requires a brand valuation. You know that आपने ये ब्रांड सुना होगा, विजय मल्ल्या का कौन सा ब्रांड था? Which, what is the name of that brand? Kingfisher. And you know that SBI, okay, SBI के पास वो ब्रांड उसने मॉर्गेज किया था, and how much he got brand मॉर्गेज करके कितना पैसा लिया था उसने? 600 crores rupees. So that was the brand valuation of Kingfisher. और जब ही विजय मल्ल्या भाग गया, उसके बाद उन्होंने वो ब्रांड सेलिंग के लिए रखा था. ओके, एंड व्हाट वैल्यू दे गॉट? एनीवन इज हैविंग आइडिया? नो. बहुत साल वो ढूंढते रहे कि वो उसको कुछ वैल्यू मिले. ओके, फाइनली समवन बॉट इट एट 65 CR. Okay, but they are fortunate enough, they got a person to buy that brand. Okay, so it happens. So that depends on performance of the enterprise. Okay, future economic benefits, because enter valuation, that depends on future economic benefits. Okay, so that will come now. Okay, so what perspective needs to be considered while valuing a brand? So while valuing a brand, both companies and consumers perspective, both companies. So company के जो perspective रहता है ना, we call it as a internal perspective. Okay, छोटा brand अगर है MSME like, so normally all internal perspective will come, क्योंकि उसके client एक दो रहेंगे, because normally they, यहाँ क्या ऑटो हब है, हमारा पुणे में ऑटो हब है. So normally they are dependent on Tata. Some they are dependent on VW, Volkswagen. Okay, Mahindra and Mahindra. Now they are developed. Okay, Bajaj. Okay, so they are dependent. They have only 2-3 clients. Bajaj में करेगा या फिर टाटा में करेगा. ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं. Okay, so while doing their brand valuation, you will just consider the internal thing, and you will meet there the client also, and what is their perspective about their brand, that also you will collect. So internal factors, so they are vision, mission, direction, alignment, empathy, agility. Okay, how fast they are working. Okay, and external factors are distinctiveness in their quality, then coherence, participation, presence, trust. These are all external factors, perspective, external perspective. Okay, so while valuing a brand, both companies and consumers perspective needs to be looked into. The brand strength score analysis, which significantly impacts the brand valuation, is determined by 10 broad base factors. Okay, so 4 factors, they are internal factors like direction, alignment, empathy and agility, and 6 factors are there. These are the external factors. Okay, so there are 4 internal factors and 6 external factors that need to be considered. Okay, एक आप बोलोगे कि इधर 5 ही फैक्टर दिख रहे हैं, राइट ना, 6 फैक्टर है. वन फैक्टर इज अफिनिटी. ओके, वो लेकिन वो ब्लैक कलर में वो दब गया है, इसलिए विजिबल दैट अफिनिटी, नो ना. ओके, नाउ लेट अस understand. Now I am again entering into a technical topic, brand valuation approaches. Okay, so that is given by International Valuation Standard. We call it as a IVS. Okay, so there are 3 approach. One is the market approach. Okay, then this is called a cost approach. Okay, we cost accountant can very easily understand this cost approach. And one is there that is called the income approach. But normally, whatever assignment of brand valuation comes, so there we use income approach more. Okay, so this is the approach which is normally used for brand valuation, income approach. Future economic benefits means future cash flows, and from that we find out what is the brand valuation. Okay. Now under brand valuation approach, again 3 approaches are there. Under market approach there are 2 methods. Okay, first method is called price or valuation multiples or capitalization rate. Okay, and another method that is the guideline pricing method. Okay, then under cost approach, reproduction cost method and replacement cost method. तो ब्रांड बनाने के लिए मेरे को कितनी कॉस्ट लगी है. ओके, सो ऑल कॉस्ट लाइक एडवर्टाइजमेंट, वो ब्रांड बनाने के लिए मेरे को जो भी लगा है. ओके, ब्रांड मैनेजर सैलरी, एवरीथिंग, ऑल कॉस्ट टुगेदर. So that will come under the cost approach. Now under income approach you will find 5 methods, and they are very important. These 5 methods that is a very important, because 95% time brand valuation we do with the help of income approach. Okay, so I will just explain you market approach first, then I will take you to the main topic, that is the income approach. Okay, market approach is relatively easy. Okay, market approach का एक ही फंडा है कि you should have a reliable data present, market data. Okay, available, market data available. So the market approach values the intangible asset. Here our intangible asset is the brand. Okay, on the basis of market based metrics such as prices paid in actual transaction. Okay, now very easily you can tell me what will be the Kingfisher's brand value. Why? Because somebody bought that bond. At what price? 65 crore. So immediately you will tell कि Kingfisher brand का अभी का value है 65 crore. That is based on market approach. Okay, this approach should be used as a primary basis for valuing intangible asset only if the following criteria are made. Number 1, the transaction is based on arm's length assumption and information is available on identical or similar intangible asset on or near the valuation date. Okay, and sufficient information on the transaction is available that helps the valuer to adjust for all significant differences between the subject intangible asset and those involved in the transactions. Okay, so if you want to find out Infosys brand, have you seen? Okay, अभी आपको उसका वैल्यूएशन अगर करने का बेस्ड ऑन मार्केट अप्रोच एंड इन मार्केट सिमिलर ब्रांड. सो व्हाट इज सिमिलर ब्रांड फॉर इन्फोसिस? सिमिलर ब्रांड फॉर इन्फोसिस कौन सा होगा? टीसीएस. ओके, विप्रो. और अगर आपके पास डेटा है कि टीसीएस ब्रांड वैल्यूएशन इज डन इन अ मार्केट, ओके, इन मंथ ऑफ अप्रैल 2025 at this price. So can you find out Infosys brand? Yes, you can do with certain adjustment. Okay, so there you can use a market approach. लेकिन ब्रांड वैल्यूएशन ये ऐसी चीज है कि मार्केट में इजीली अवेलेबल नहीं होगी. ओके, एंड दैट्स व्हाई दिस मार्केट अप्रोच इज रिलेटिवली used less in the while doing valuation. Where market information on either prices or valuation parameters is available, it is often necessary to make adjustment. Okay, अभी आपके पास विप्रो या फिर TCS इसका वैल्यूएशन है, ब्रांड वैल्यूएशन है, so you have to still do the certain adjustment while doing the Infosys brand valuation. Okay, so to reflect differences between the subject asset and those involved in the transaction, as it is rarely possible to make market evidence of transactions involving identical assets. So these adjustments are required to reflect the differentiating characteristics of the subject intangible asset and assets involved in the transactions. Okay. So first method is the price valuation multiples or capitalization rate. So this method considers certain multiples or capitalization rate to arrive at the valuation of a comparable intangible asset. So the multiple shall be adjusted appropriately to factor in any differences between the intangible asset to be valued and comparable intangible assets. Okay. And another method, this is the second method under market approach. So that is called guideline pricing method. So this method determines the value of intangible asset by considering the price paid in an orderly transaction for a comparable intangible assets. Okay, called as the guideline intangible asset, which is similar to the intangible asset to be valued. Similar example, वही Infosys करना है और तो TCS का अगर आपके पास किया हुआ रहेगा तो from that you can take up guidelines कि कैसे किया है, and same approach guidelines you can apply to the Infosys that way. However, in most instances it may be difficult to obtain reliable data in the form of public transaction, valuation multiples and guideline intangible assets. Okay, so two methods I explained. पहला कौन सा था? Comparative. Okay, and another was a guideline pricing method. First method was this, price or capitalization rates or valuation multiples. Okay, comparative. Okay, and another was a guiding principle method, pricing method. Now I'll go to the main topic, that is the income approach. This is used for 95% time for a brand valuation. Okay, so income approach. Income approach is the valuation approach that converts maintainable or future amounts. Okay, Ind AS 38 it itself says that future economic benefits की बात कर रहे हैं, and that comes in under income approach. Okay, so future amounts, that is the cash flow or income or expenses to a single current, discounted or capitalized. Here what we do the discounting. Future में जो आने वाला है, okay, economic cash flows, okay, उसको हम आज का NPV निकालते हैं. What is NPV? Net present value today, and on that basis we do the brand valuation. Okay, so valuation of intangible asset using the income approach is based on the expectation of economic benefits from the intangible asset to be valued. So in other words, the value of an intangible asset is the present value of the income expected or cost served by the owner of the intangible asset either through own operations or licensing of the intangible assets. So the income so determined is adjusted with any related expenses pertaining to the maintenance and or enhancement of the intangible asset. So the projected net cash flows are then discounted to present value using a risk adjusted discount rate. Okay, and very commonly it is used. Income approach is commonly used for the valuation of intangible asset like customer relationship and contracts, technology. Hello, बाहेर जाऊन सांग ना. Technology, non-competition agreement, leasehold rights, trademarks, brand, etc. Okay, so income approach, this is the only method used for a brand valuation. Okay, not only method, but majority times it is used, income approach. Okay, so first method under income approach is relief from royalty method, RFR. We call it as a RFR. Okay, relief from royalty method. Nowadays we use this method, okay, because lot of MNCs are working over here, okay, in our auto hub also, in IT companies also. So what they do, they give their know-how, okay, and they takes a royalty from Indian operations, okay. So we have a royalty figures, okay, and why this royalty is coming? Just because of that brand, okay. हमारे पास सर आपको पता होगा ना, हुस्को इज द अमेरिकन कंपनी, दे आर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वॉल्स, okay, but they have operation at Talegaon. They are supplying it to Tata, okay, and others automobile owners, okay, OEMs. But royalty goes from Talegaon operation to that American owner, okay. So there you can apply this relief from royalty method for brand valuation. So here concept is that you estimate the brand's value by calculating the royalties of a company would have to pay to license the brand if it did not own it, okay. And steps in RFR method, that is a relief from royalty, are very simple. Obtain the projected income statement associated with the intangible asset to be valued over the remaining useful life of the said asset. Then analyze the projected income statement and its underlying assumption to assess the reasonableness. Select the appropriate royalty rate based on market-based royalty rates for a similar intangible asset. Okay, you must be having fair idea कितना royalty rate रहता है market में? Anyone? Very good, sir. 5%. Okay, but these MNCs they normally take 3.5%. Okay, जैसा कोई अमेरिकन कंपनी है, उसका अच्छा ब्रांडिंग है और उसको इधर ऑपरेशन चालू करना है, दे टेक अ 3.5%. बट यू हैव, अभी हम चाय पीते हो कौन सा है सर, वो येवले दे टेक मोर रॉयल्टीज, ओके. सो दे टेक अराउंड 10% रॉयल्टीज, ओके. सो फ्रॉम जितना भी बिजनेस होगा उसमें वो 10% लेके जाता है वो रॉयल्टी ऑन द बेसिस, just because of that brand Yeole tea, okay. And they are setting up everything like setting all process. 10 रुपए का इधर मिलता है तो 10 रुपए का तुम शिरडी में जाके पियोगे तो पंढरपुर में जाके पियोगे उतना ही मिलेगा 10 रुपए वाला. मेथड इज सेम, वो जो ग्लास छोटा सा ग्लास उधर से उठाने का इधर ऐसा. सो दैट means 3.5%, 3% to 10% normal royalty rate, okay. So apply the selected royalty rate to the future income attributable to the said asset. Use the appropriate marginal tax rate, okay, or such other appropriate tax rate to arrive at the after tax royalty saving, okay. Then discount the after tax royalty savings to arrive at the present value. Find out the NPV, net present value, okay. So here this method is being given in this chart. What we do, we find out the total revenue for the year, okay. So you can go year wise, okay. So first column is of year, then you just take revenue there, then you find out a royalty rate. Here I have taken a 5% royalty rate. Then royalty savings, okay. So here 5% of 100 crores, so 5 crores, simple. So royalty savings are 5 crores. ये मेरा जा रहा है, दिस इज द कैश आउट फ्लो, क्योंकि मेरे को देना पड़ रहा है वो जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ हैविंग दैट ब्रांड, ओके. देन टैक्स दैट इज वी कंसिडर एज अ 30%, सो 1.5, सो नेट सेविंग इज 3.5 करोड़, ओके. देन प्रेजेंट वैल्यू फैक्टर वो 10% लगाया मैंने, सो आई कैन फाइंड आउट द एनपीवी, नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू, ओके. सो 3.5 डिवाइडेड बाय 1.1 ऐसा भी कर सकते हो और इंटू 0.91 ऐसा भी कर सकते हो आप, ओके. सो पीवी दैट इज अ प्रेजेंट वैल्यू, दैट इज अ 3.19, राइट. देन सेकेंड ईयर आई हैड अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ 110 करोड़. ब्रांडिंग में क्या होता है, ब्रांड व्हाई वी डेवलप ब्रांड्स, कि यहाँ पे कभी ड्रॉप नहीं होता है, ओके. ड्रॉ डाउन बोलते ना हम, कि हमारा बिजनेस कैसा होता है कि कोरोना आया तो कोरोना में ड्रॉप हो गया, ओके. फिर से नेक्स्ट ईयर में अच्छा बिजनेस हुआ है, ओके, कंसल्टेंसी बिजनेस. बट हियर वंस यू हैव ब्रांड, it never goes down. Okay, that is the advantage of having branding. Okay, so then you have to just sum it total PV, and from that you can find out the brand value. Okay, here I have taken a live examples. Okay, but figures are in dollar millions. Okay, but same method, revenues, then royalty rate. Here royalty rate is taken as 3.5. Okay, because normally this MNCs they ask for a royalty 3.5%. Okay, and similar method you can apply over there. Okay, so 4-5 चीजें आपको ध्यान में रखने का. First one is the revenue, this is the first, then this royalty rate, that this is second. Okay, then this is the third, that is the brand margin. Okay, क्योंकि नेट मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट को आपको निकाल देना है क्या उसमें से. ओके, नेट प्रॉफिट को ही आपको ये करने का है. ओके, डिस्काउंट रेट just to find out the NPV, this is important, and tax basis means tab. We call it as a tax amortization benefits. Then next method, this is called WWM. Okay, जैसा वो WWF था ना ऐसा ये WWM है. Okay, concept is what? Estimate the business value with the brand and without the brand. The difference is the value of the brand. Simple. ये कंसेप्ट बहुत अच्छा लगता है मेरे को, बिकॉज दिस कंसेप्ट इज वेरी सिंपल. ओके, एक तो क्या कर रहे हो, आपको बिजनेस वैल्यू निकालने का विदाउट ब्रांड एंड विद द ब्रांड, एंड दोनों का जो डिफरेंस है दैट इज योर ब्रांड वैल्यू. सिंपल, एंड स्टेप्स आर ऑल्सो सिंपल, एंड दिस मेथड इज कॉमनली यूज फॉर वैल्यूएशन ऑफ नॉन कॉम्पीट एग्रीमेंट्स, जहाँ पे आपको कोई कॉम्पिटिशन नहीं है, लाइक मोनोपोली बिजनेस, एंड देयर यू वांट टू डू द ब्रांडिंग, brand valuation. Okay, so there you can use this method. Okay, जैसा you know ONGC का brand है. Okay, if you have to do that ONGC brand valuation, so there you will apply this method. Okay, because there is no competition for them. Then comes these steps are very simple. Project cash flow of business as it is with brand. Okay, then estimate cash flows without the brand. Okay, then discount both to the present value, and brand value is equal to present value with brand minus present value without brand. Okay, so first of all you have to take year wise cash flow with brand. So here it is 10 crore. Then cash flow without brand, अगर मेरा ब्रांड नहीं रहता तो 6 करोड़. ओके, डिफरेंस इज 4 करोड़, उसको पीवी फैक्टर लगा दो एंड 3.64 विल बी द योर प्रेजेंट वैल्यू फॉर दैट ब्रांड. डिस्काउंटिंग है सर, डिस्काउंटिंग फॉर अ फ्यूचर इकोनॉमिक ईयर. तो उसमें आप बहुत सारी चीजें ले सकते हो, जैसे डिस्काउंट रेट है ना, ये देखो, कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विटी ले सकते हो, कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल बेसिकली, then indefinite life, revenue growth risk. Okay, वो सब ले सकते हो weighted average करके, and then you can put a factor over there. Okay, normally अपन लेते हैं ना 10% लेते हैं. Okay, ये क्या चीज है, आज कल जाके अगले साल मेरे को अगर 10 रुपया मिलने वाला है तो उसका आज का वैल्यू क्या है, सो दैट डिस्काउंटिंग है ऐसा. Okay, so here assumption that plays a very significant role, that is economic life in years 5, discounted rate 18%. यहाँ पे ज़्यादा लिया है मैंने. Okay, why? Because life is less. जहाँ पे लाइफ स्पैन बढ़ता है वहाँ पे डिस्काउंटिंग कम हो जाएगा. टैक्स रेट इज 35%. Then free cash flows with non-compete in place, and free cash flows without non-compete in place. Okay, basically with brand and without brand, and that difference, and then discounting. So this is called the WWM. Okay, with or very simple. Agar that similar business, okay, I'll quote example of Husco. Okay, so Husco American, okay, they had given him certain clients, okay, like Tata Motors. So first of all, what happened? Tata Motors approach American Husco. You supply us walls or manifolds. Okay. So he straight away forwarded that business to Husco India. You got my point? So all that license, जो भी लगता है APL license लगता है, so that is provided by American Husco. Okay. अगर अमेरिकन उसको नहीं रहता था, वो ब्रांड नहीं रहता था मेरे पास, तो स्ट्रेट अवे दैट बिजनेस यू हैव टू, एंड व्हाट आर यू जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ ऑन योर ओन विदाउट ब्रांड दैट यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट. सिंपल. ओके, दिस इज द थर्ड मेथड, मल्टी पीरियड एक्सेस मेथड. वी कॉल इट एज अ मीम. ओके, आजकल मीम वर्ल्ड बहुत जार्गन फेमस है, मीम है ना, memes. M-E-M-E. Oh, that is different. This meme is different. Okay. So this is a multi-period excess earning method, and concept is it is primarily used when the brand is a key tangible asset. When your brand is a key tangible asset, and it estimates the cash flow attributable to the brand after deducting returns on other asset. Okay. So if you will take list of intangible assets, if you take a list of intangible assets, क्या क्या आएगा उसमें, कौन क्या क्या चीजें आएगी? अगेन फोकस ऑन बैलेंस शीट. गुडविल, वेरी गुड. पेटेंट, फ्रेंचाइजी, आईपीज, आईपी. ओके, आईपी क्या है? व्हाट इज आईपी? हैव यू हर्ड दिस वर्ड? क्या बात है, वेरी गुड. सबसे फेमस है, सबसे फेमस इंटेंजिबल थिंग. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट? बिकॉज ऑफ नो, बिकॉज ऑफ IT companies. Every IT companies they have their IPs. और आजकल जितना बूम है IT कंपनी में, and that's why that this intangible asset IP is becoming very popular. जब भी कोई IT कंपनी खरीदी जाती है, ओके, तब कैसा PPA कैसे करते हो, परचेज प्राइस अलोकेशन कैसे किया जाता है? तो 65% गोज टू स्ट्रेट अवे IPs. इतना पॉपुलर होने लगा. हैव यू डन IP वैल्यूएशन? हैव यू? नो. हम कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग सोचते नहीं है. बहुत सारा बिजनेस है, बहुत बहुत सारा है, बट वी आर नॉट थिंकिंग कि इसको कैसा ये करना. ओके, सो इफ यू विल टेक अ लिस्ट ऑफ इंटेंजिबल एसेट्स, गुडविल, IPs, पेटेंट्स एंड ब्रांड, और उसमें ब्रांड इज हैविंग द टॉप मोस्ट वैल्यू. गॉट इट? 75% वैल्यू तो ब्रांड का ही है. ऐसे टाइम आप कौन सी मेथड यूज करोगे? तो दिस मेथड इज मीम. दिस मेथड इज मीम, मल्टी पीरियड एक्सेस अर्निंग मेथड. मल्टी पीरियड एक्सेस अर्निंग. Okay. So under this method, the value of an intangible asset is equal to the present value of the incremental after tax cash flows, excess earning attributable to the intangible asset to be valued, okay, over its remaining useful life. In other words, it is the present value of the excess cash flow attributable to the intangible asset to be valued based on the attrition rate of the customers, okay, as adjusted by the associated expenses required for the generation of the cash flows and cash flows pertaining to the contributory assets. Okay, so ये मेथड सबसे ज्यादा यूज कहाँ किया जाता है बताता हूं मैं. मीम. मीम इज द बेस्ट यूज केस व्हेन ब्रांड इज द कोर ड्राइवर ऑफ द बिजनेस. Brand is the core driver of the business. Okay. Have you heard a case of Lifebuoy? Lifebuoy brand सुना है क्या? सुना है? क्या है? Soap. Okay. So this brand Lifebuoy that was the major earner for HLL. अभी जो Unilever बोलते हैं नाम. Okay. अभी नहीं रहा ये पोजीशन, लेकिन व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग इन 90s टू यानी जो हमारा Y2K जब तक आया था, सो दिस ब्रांड लाइफ बॉय ये ऐसा था कि लोग शॉप में जाके बोलते थे कि लाइफ बॉय देना, वो कुछ भी देता था उठा के, रेक्सोना देगा कुछ भी देगा, लेकिन मांगता क्या था, डिमांड क्या था, लाइफ बॉय देना. सो दैट मच ब्रांड लॉयल्टी इट हैज क्रिएटेड, लाइफ बॉय. सेम लाइक डालडा, निरमा, निरमा, कोलगेट. आज भी कोलगेट का तो मेरे गांव में अभी शॉप खुला है. ओके, लोग जाते हैं उधर और बोलते कोलगेट देना, कुछ भी देते हो, बबुल देते हैं या फिर वाटर कम्स टू मीन्स प्रॉमिस. ओके, लेकिन दिस पीपल दे आस्क फॉर कोलगेट. वैसे और एक ब्रांड था टोपास करके, पहले ये सब नहीं थे जिलेट वगैरह. ओके, दैट टाइम पीपल यूज टू गो एंड पूछते थे टोपास, ब्लेड का जमाना था, ब्लेड. ओके, तो so there where it is a major prime driver, that time you can use meme over there. Okay. Are you enjoying or bore हो रहे? हाँ, ठीक है ना? Okay. So this is the fourth method, that is called a distributor method. ये simple है. Okay, it is used when the business acts like a distributor. Okay, it is used when the business acts like a distributor. अगर मेरे को वो सर उसका नाम ही भूल जाओ, चाय वाला कौन, ये ओले, अगर उसका आपको वैल्यूएशन करने का, ये ओले टी. ओके, सो देयर यू कैन यूज दिस मेथड, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर मेथड. ओके, सो इट इज यूज व्हेन द बिजनेस एक्ट्स लाइक अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर. इट एस्टिमेट्स द margins a hypothetical distributor would earn using the brand. अगर उसने एक फ्रेंचाइजी दे दिया, ओके, ये जैसे शगुन चौक में उसका एक है येवले चाय, हमारे चिंचोड़ चौक में मोरिया वो जो हॉस्पिटल है उसके सामने ही है येवले चाय. ओके, हर फ्रेंचाइजी पे ही कैन कैलकुलेट व्हाट इज द ब्रांड वैल्यू ही गॉट फ्रॉम दैट franchisee. Okay, because he is acting like a distributor, उसने distribution कर दिया है. Okay, brands. So this is a variation of meme and it is adopted for valuation of customer based intangible asset when meme is applied to a value another intangible asset considered to be more significant. Okay, meme में हम क्या करते हैं, other intangible asset है जैसे goodwill, okay, IPs, patents, उसको लेके वैल्यू करते हैं. ओके, एंड उसके रिलेशन में इसका वैल्यू करते हैं. हियर देयर इज अ डिफरेंस. द फंडामेंटल अजम्पशन यूज्ड इन दिस मेथड इज दैट कैश फ्लो ऑफ ईच सेगमेंट ऑफ ए पर्टिकुलर बिजनेस आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू जनरेट प्रॉफिट्स. ओके, एंड हियर स्टेप्स आर प्रोजेक्ट योर रेवेन्यूज, assume a industry benchmark distribution margin, that is a 10%. Example is 10%. Calculate brand attributable cash flows and then tax adjust and discount to PV. Okay, now here again I will go to first example, Marico Industries. So Marico had two brands. One is the Swikar is in another segment, so that was the sunflower oil, and then Saffola. Okay, so Saffola was the safflower. Okay, मराठीमध्ये आम्ही त्याला बोलतो करडई. ओके, करडई मीन्स सॅफफ्लावर अँड सनफ्लावर यू नो व्हेरी वेल. ओके, तो सूर्यफूल वेगळं आणि करडई वेगळं. तर व्हेन यू हॅव टू डू द ब्रँड व्हॅल्युएशन ऑफ सनफ्लावर मीन्स स्वीकार, अँड इफ यू हॅव टू डू द व्हॅल्युएशन ऑफ ब्रँड व्हॅल्युएशन ऑफ अ सफोला, ओके, both are under one segment, that is edible oils. Okay, so that time you can use this distributor method. Okay, because उसका स्वीकार का सेल कितना है एंड सफोला का सेल कितना है, फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोज कितने हैं, दैट यू कैन इजीली यू कैन आइडेंटिफाई. ओके, and this is the last method, that is the greenfield method. Okay, so it assumes the fact company started from scratch and builds the brand over time and used when no historic data exists or for a new brand. Okay, I would say this is a more over like a cost method.
Okay, cost approach. Here we use a cost approach. Okay, but as I am using cash flows, I am saying it is a income approach over here. So basic assumption for valuation using the Greenfield method is the intangible asset to be valued is the only asset with all other tangible or intangible asset being created, leased or acquired. Instead of contributory asset charge generally deducted from the cash flows, a valuer is required to subtract replacement cost of the asset that is required to be built or bought. So Greenfield method is usually used to value franchisee agreement and certain licenses. Okay. So steps are estimate time and investment needed to build a brand. Okay. Project gradual ramp up of revenue and brand benefits. Calculate NPV of these future benefits and compare against the cost to build brand. Okay. So I'll quote one example. Like my wife, she runs tuitions business. Okay. So she teaches to Homi Baba students. So that is a one young scientist exam, and focus is on science subjects. So normally one brand is there in that is called a DFC. Okay. So her brand is a Nanda school. Okay. Nanda's classes. And one brand is there, DFC, that is the Nandi Foundation. Okay, that is in Aurangabad. Now name is changed, Sambhaji Nagar. Okay, so we approached them. Okay, and we asked for a franchisee. Okay, this just to have a fair idea, we asked him how you built up this. He asked us to give 25 lakh and take a franchise. Okay. So that time he explained me how much time is gone in building that brand, and now how many students he have. Okay. And what is his setup. Okay. What is the cost in that. Okay. And what is the replacement cost. Okay. So on that logic. So I heard his logic, but same logic that is given in Greenfield method. Okay, so I could correlate that whatever he was telling, that is given over here, Greenfield method. Okay, so you have to first find out what is the brand investment, kitna paisa laga mujhe, and then projected revenue. Okay, then operating cash flows, net cash flows. Okay, PV factor. Then present value, and from that you can find out the brand valuation. Okay, this is a summary table for income approach. So first method we have seen, that was RFR, relief from royalty. Best use case, establish brands with comparable royalty. Okay, we had given an example of Husco, America. Okay, then data needed, revenue, industry royalty rate. Okay, we discussed this, that rate is 3.5%. Complexity, low complexity, easily you can find out brand valuation. Used in licensing. Okay, then M&A, merger and acquisitions. This was the second method, that is called WWM, with and without method. So when impact of brand is quantifiable. Okay, then complexity is medium. Okay, and it is used in strategic decision. Okay, again strategic decisions are involved in M&A also, and there also it is used with and without method. Then meme method. Meme method when brand is the core driver of business. Okay, here complexity is very high and brand of heavy businesses. Then distributor method. Okay, this is used for FMCG or brands with a strong distribution. Okay, Lifebuoy. Okay, consumer brands. So for that we use distributor method, like Marico example I had given, Swikar, Saffola. Then Greenfield method. So here again new or startup brands. Okay, here again complexity is very high and it is used in case of a new brands. Okay, so this is the summary table for income approach, and this cost approach is very easy and least used. ज़्यादा यूज नहीं होता है ये ब्रांड वैल्यूएशन में, बट दिस इज द अप्रोच वी यूज्ड इन केस ऑफ वैल्यूएशन ऑफ प्लांट एंड मशीनरी. कौन सा एसेट क्लास है जिसमें सबसे ज़्यादा यूज होता है? दैट इज अ प्लांट एंड मशीनरी. ओके, but since this brand valuation, that is a financial asset basically, and again intangible asset, so there we do not use cost approach, but it is given in international valuation standard, IVS, we call it as a IVS, and under IVS 230 it is being given. So that's why I am going to discuss this cost approach. इसमें दो ही मेथड है, one is replacement cost, okay, रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट, और दूसरा है रिप्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट. अगर वो ब्रांड को मेरे को फिर से रीडेवलप करना है तो कितना कॉस्ट लगेगा आज के टाइम में, सो दैट कम्स एज अ रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट, सॉरी दैट कम्स एज अ रिप्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट. ओके, सो टू मेथड्स आर देयर. So the cost approach values intangible asset by examining costs that would currently be required to replace the asset. Okay, this is a method, replacement cost. The premise of this approach is that an investor would pay no more for an asset than what would be required to replace it. So the cost approach also considers the reproduction cost. This is another method, two methods. Okay, so replacement and reproduction as the value of the intangible asset. However, an intangible asset do not have any physical form that can be reproduced. Even intangible assets like technology are reproduced based on their functionality and not exact codes. So the replacement cost method is the widely used under the cost approach. So replacement cost is only used. Reproduction cost निकालना बहुत मुश्किल है. Okay. Cost approach, reproduction cost method. This is another method. Reproduction cost method involves valuing an asset based on the cost that a market participant shall have to incur to recreate a replica of the asset to be valued, adjusted for obsolescence. So under this method, the value of intangible asset is the total cost based on the current prices to produce an exact replica of the intangible asset to be valued. Okay, so first method, that is a replacement cost method. So it is this method, RCM, we call it as a RCM, replacement cost method. Okay, RCM. So this involves valuing an asset based on the cost that a market participant shall have to incur to recreate an asset with substantially the same utility, comparable utility, as that of the asset to be valued, adjusted for obsolescence. Okay, so under this method, the value of intangible asset is the total cost based on the current prices to produce an asset similar to the intangible asset to be valued. Okay, and this is RPCM. We call it as a reproduction cost method. Okay, this is the this. So here I will end my I'll summarize it. Okay, so first of all, I explain you what is brand, then brand equity, then brand positioning, then how to build brand building. Okay, then I explain you what is the personal branding, what is corporate branding. After that, I started my technical session. So I explain you where it is being mentioned, brand valuation. So that was in the AS 38. I explain those paras 21 to 26. Then I explain you methods. First of all, I explain you approaches for brand valuation. So there are three approaches. One was the market approach, one was income approach, and one is a cost approach. Then under market approach, two methods I explain you. So one method was the comparative. Okay, and another method was guideline principle. Then under income approach, I explain you 5 methods. Okay, so RFR, okay, relief from royalty. Then WWM, that is with or without, okay, without that brand. Okay, so that method I explain, WWM. Then I explain you greenfield method also. Then I explain you distributor methods also. Okay, one method I left, पांचवा कौन सा था? Meme, correct. So that 5 methods I explain. And under cost approach, I explain you 2 methods. That is the RCM, that is the replacement cost method, and one was the reproduction cost method. So that's about brand valuation. And thanks for patiently hearing me. Thank you.
So now I'll request CMA Kajal Mohanani ma'am to give the certificate to CM Ashish Deshmukh sir. Now I will call upon CMA Dhananjay Kumar Vatsan sir to give the vote of thanks.
CMA Sagar ji, Ladha sir, Hampioli ji, and all members. Basically, CMA Ashish, I call him Dada. So I will take this opportunity to call him as a Dada only. So basically, I choose a topic which is very irrelevant. Irrelevant in the sense that most of the CMA do not even think on this field. And in that he has collected so much of material and doing 2 hours presentation and all these things. It's a really remarkable job. And for that he must have spent lot of time and energy. So for all these efforts, I would like to thank him. And not only him, even his family member who has supported him for making all these things going right way. PCMC chapter who has organized this on this topic and made the CP successful. I would like to thank him for that. Last but not least, all the staff member and all the people who are present and contributed for this occasion. I would like to thank him from bottom of my heart. Thank you very much, and must take use of this data because this is useful to every individual, the organization we are working with, and really it is like a one window is opened and we can see okay what all the big things is outside. So make use of this. Thank you very much.